own mRNA vaccine based on publicly available information about the composition of an existing vaccine. After visiting the institution and met with President Ramaphosa, felt that the hub is in good hands. A strong commitment of leadership from His Excellency President Ramaphosa, and also a strong commitment from all the institutions and the ecosystem for the hub is very, very strong. We expect clinical trials to start in the fourth quarter of this year, with approval expected in 2024. But this process can be speeded up. There are other options that the hub is exploring. We expect the benefits of this initiative will extend far beyond COVID-19 by creating a platform for vaccines against other diseases, including malaria, tuberculosis, and even cancer. So this is a strategic investment, not just for COVID, but for all the major health problems that we face. And the hub will be not just for South Africa, it's for Africa and for the whole world, because the spokes will be distributed all over the world. Today, I'm delighted to announce the first 6 African countries that will receive technology from the hub to produce their own mRNA vaccines: Egypt, Kenya, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, and Tunisia. WHO will work with the companies and the government in each country to develop a roadmap for training and production based on their needs and capacities. We're very honored to be joined today by the presidents of all 6 countries, as well as President Macron, President Charles Michel, and President Ursula von der Leyen. The leadership and support of the European Union, the European Commission, and the European Council have all been essential in bringing us to this point. So I'd like to say thank you so much, merci beaucoup, and thank you all, and we look forward to working with all of you to make this project a success for the healthier, safer, and fairer Africa we all want. I was saying yesterday, for this project, the only option we have is success. Failure is not an option, and I can see the commitment of all our leaders here. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Director General. J'invite le président du Conseil européen à prendre la parole.
Merci beaucoup, très cher Dr Tedros, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement. C'est évidemment un plaisir pour l'Union européenne, ensemble avec Ursula, d'être partie prenante à ce projet. Le Dr Tedros a parfaitement résumé le projet, la philosophie de ce projet, et nous savons tous que cette crise du Covid qui a frappé et qui frappe le monde a mis au grand jour, a mis en lumière des faiblesses et des injustices. Mais cette crise du Covid a aussi été l'occasion d'un sursaut de solidarité, d'un sursaut de travail en équipe, et nous sommes particulièrement heureux d'avoir pu contribuer au départ d'une ambition africaine, au départ d'un leadership africain, au départ d'une volonté africaine d'avoir pu se mettre autour des mêmes tables, s'écouter mutuellement, entendre quelles sont les attentes et entendre aussi quelles sont les capacités et les moyens que nous pouvions mettre à disposition pour opérer en quelques mois des transferts de technologies qui donnent l'occasion de développer des capacités dans un secteur stratégique comme le secteur pharmaceutique. Alors moi, je ne vais pas être très long, simplement vous dire que vous pouvez compter sur l'Union européenne pour amplifier cette manière de travailler, pour amplifier aussi cette capacité de faire en sorte que l'Afrique puisse être un continent qui réussit à développer des capacités stratégiques de production dans le domaine de la santé, dans le domaine des vaccins. Je vous remercie.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. President of South Africa, Mr. Ramaphosa, you have the floor.
Your Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, we are really delighted to be part of this announcement this morning, to in many ways share our experience as the first WHO mRNA hub in Africa. The WHO has listened to what we have been saying, listened to our collective call to establish COVID-19 manufacturing sites in low and middle income countries in the midst of a vaccine inequality that we've always been talking about. The WHO is facilitating the establishment of this mRNA vaccine technology transfer hub in South Africa that will use a hub and spoke model to transfer a comprehensive technology package and provide what I'd call appropriate training to a selected number of manufacturers in other African and low, medium income countries also around the world. We welcome the announcement of the African spokes, they being Kenya, Tunisia, Nigeria, Senegal, and Egypt. We could not be happier. Of course, as Africans, we always want more, and we all hope that there will be more in time to come, because we don't want any African country to be left behind. So, Dr. Tedros, I'd like you to keep thinking about where more should be done. Now, since South Africa was selected to host this hub, we, in the process, have learned a lot. We have learned that the value of a well-functioning ecosystem that includes universities, research institutes, public health institutes, as well as pharmaceutical companies themselves and regulatory bodies is what works best. Because through that you establish an ecosystem so that if there are any faults, if there are any mistakes, they are picked up by the knowledge and expertise of all these bodies. Institutions in the ecosystem should work in a coordinated and collaborative manner and bring complementary expertise and skills. And I say this advisedly so that our peer countries should also be able to find ways of including other complementary bodies that can assist. Working together has massive benefits. For example, the partnership between Afrigen and the University of Witwatersrand is very beneficial because WITS has been working on the mRNA technology for the past 10 years in Johannesburg. Consequently, between Afrigen and the university, they created an mRNA vaccine within 2 months. We have also learned that setting up these hubs goes beyond establishing production processes. It should also extend to the development of human resources, human capital across the borders, where we will easily be able to find our scientists working across South Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, and all these other countries. For example, the partnership between South Africa and Nigeria in genomic surveillance has led to the training of students from across the continent, a number of countries. Quality control is key to manufacturing success, ensuring that the standard operating procedures for production do in the end meet regulatory standards. In South Africa, full operationalization of the mRNA has been hampered by intellectual property barriers. Now, this for us is a serious matter. This could occur in other countries with the potential to host the spokes. The WHO and Medicines Patent Pool, with the assistance of the European and African governments, are working to secure funding as well as intellectual property rights for Afrigen and its partners to establish the hub. Another challenge related to the IP barriers is the failure to transfer technology to the hub through non-exclusive licenses to produce as well as to export and distribute the COVID-19 vaccines in low and middle income countries, including through the COVAX facility. The lack of a market for vaccines produced in Africa is something that should be concerning to all of us. Organizations such as COVAX and Gavi need to commit to buying vaccines from local manufacturers instead of going outside of those hubs that will have been set up to go and buy vaccines for distribution to the African continent again. They need to then buy and commit that they will buy from the locally produced hubs once they get going. This will enhance the spirit of Africa's determination to enhance biotech sovereignty. Unless Africa has a vaccine market, marketing vaccines will soon collapse. Right now we say COVAX and Gavi rather, because they are the biggest buyers of vaccines in the world. We cannot continue being consumers of medical countermeasures for disease produced at high prices that are not affordable to our continent. Now, I come to an uncomfortable point. The TRIPS waiver, which we've been arguing for, when approved, or should I say, which will soon be approved, will ensure freedom to operate entities with the requisite capacity and provide a platform to upgrade existing capabilities. In addition, it will facilitate the diversification of production to geographical regions that are currently cut out of the manufacturing value chains. Governments that are serious about vaccine access, and let me repeat, governments that are really serious about ensuring that the world has access to vaccines should ensure that we approve the TRIPS waiver as we've put forward. Rather than hide behind IP, the profitability of the originators, we are facing a global pandemic that will stay with us for a long time. And all that has been asked for is that the TRIPS waiver should be done within a set period of time so as to enable those countries that do not have easy access to vaccines to have access to vaccines. And we are talking about the lives of millions, hundreds of millions of people, rather than the profitability of the few companies. It is not acceptable that Africa is consistently at the back of the queue in relation to access to medicines. While we appreciate the donations, they are never a sustainable way or mechanism to build resilience. Yes, we accept what assistance we have received, but it is not sustainable. Help to empower us. Let us tackle obstacles together and demonstrate to the world that Africa has the ability, the scientists and industries to provide the vaccines, the therapeutics and diagnostics needed to manage African health. And let me say as I end, as COVID-19 champion for the African Union, we set up a commission. Your Excellencies, I've been amazed, pleasantly amazed, at the number of scientists we've got on the African continent. They have just come out of the woodworks and they are demonstrating enormous capability. And those are the people whose energy we need to unleash, because they are willing, ready and prepared to work for their continent. And all we need to do at this level is to do the TRIPS waiver, to empower them, and yes, to follow in the lead of the WHO and just give them that energy and that oxygen so that they can surge forward and do wonders for this continent. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Madame la Présidente, vous avez la parole.
Thank you very much indeed. I think this is a symbol today for the new partnership we have embarked on. And we have been indeed talking a lot about producing mRNA vaccines in Africa, but I think this goes far beyond. This is mRNA technology designed in Africa, led by Africa and owned by Africa, with the support of Team Europe. And indeed, we are so deeply convinced of the potential you, dear Cyril, were just describing, that from the very first moment on, we have backed this initiative without any hesitation and teamed up with you and the WHO to set up this technology transfer hub. I think the emphasis has to be on technology transfer. We invest 40 million euros as the Commission with Germany, France and Belgium because we are deeply convinced it's the right way to go. And indeed, I consider this not only as a major step forward in the fight against the pandemic, but also as a major step forward in Africa's strategic sovereignty when it comes to vaccines. We all know the state of play today. Today, of all the vaccines applied in Africa, 1% is produced in Africa, of all the vaccines. And rightly so, the goal is in 2040 to have reached a level of 60% of vaccines produced in Africa that are administered in Africa. And this is the precondition. And here, indeed, I think, dear Cyril, it is important that, as you said, we limit with this technology transfer the profitability of the IP owners, that is the companies, that was the point you were blaming, while protecting a very precious good, and this is the intellectual property, what scientists have developed. And here I think we can find a bridge. The goal is really to make sure that the technology is transferred and dismantled and shown in full scope. And for that, we think that compulsory licensing with limited, deeply cut profits might be a bridge we go together. I see too that at the technology transfer hub at the moment being, we are not there yet. Because I heard very well that you, Dr. Tedros, my friend, said publicly available information. This is not enough. There needs to be the in-depth information about a technology. So we have a common goal. I think we are able to manage to create the regulatory frame that is necessary to really make it happen, that the strategic sovereignty of Africa concerning vaccines is being developed and given. There's a second point that is outstanding with this hub and spoke model, that is that it's not only about science, it is a lot about skills, it is about high quality jobs, and indeed, it was mentioned, it is about the regulatory environment for the whole of Africa, that the African Union, for example, is now developing with the African Medicines Agency and the African CDC. You see the complexity of the project, you see the groundbreaking initiative, completely a new approach towards an attitude where the sovereignty of science is given and is protected while Africa has full access and full ownership. This is so important, of the technology and then the goods that come from that. So many thanks for that. It is a perfect example of what we are able to do when we join forces. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. J'invite le Président de la République à prendre la parole.
Merci beaucoup, chers amis, Mesdames, Messieurs les Présidentes et Présidents, Mesdames, Messieurs. Tout a été dit, je vais aller droit au but. Cette crise a été l'occasion inédite d'une coopération entre l'Afrique et l'Europe totalement inédite. Dès le printemps 2020, c'est entre l'Union africaine et l'Union européenne que nous avons bâti l'initiative ACTA. Nous avons ensuite été convaincre les autres membres du G20. Et par cette initiative, nous avons pu déployer des coopérations inédites pour exporter, fournir des doses, apporter aussi des kits de test et soutenir des systèmes de santé primaire. Il faut bien le dire que nous avions parfois abandonné ces dernières décennies. Les résultats ont été là. Et je veux dire combien l'Europe a été présente, je rappelais les chiffres hier, en produisant de plus en plus et en exportant et donnant beaucoup plus que toutes les autres puissances, y compris au pic de la crise. La deuxième étape, c'est évidemment de construire les moyens pour le continent africain d'être plus souverain. Et cet agenda de souveraineté auquel je crois pour l'Europe, j'y crois de la même manière pour l'Afrique dans le cadre d'un partenariat équitable. Nous connaissons les chiffres, nous étions ensemble en mai dernier avec le président Ramaphosa sur ce sujet pour lancer les prémices de ce hub. Le continent africain ne veut pas simplement, il l'a rappelé, qu'on lui donne les doses, qu'on les transfère, il veut pouvoir les produire sur son sol. Et un mois plus tard, Dr Tedros, cher président, vous lanciez cette initiative qui se concrétise aujourd'hui. Et donc je veux vraiment d'abord féliciter les 6 présidents du continent africain ici présents pour leur engagement, leur mobilisation, car ils vont avoir justement sur leur sol ces hubs de transfert de technologies ARN messager. Ensuite, je veux remercier l'ensemble de la Commission européenne et les pays européens partenaires. La France contribuera à hauteur de 20 millions d'euros sur nos financements et vous pouvez compter sur la mobilisation évidemment de nos experts, de l'Agence française de développement. Et je pense qu'on a là aussi une formidable occasion de coopération nouvelle entre des académiques sud-africains pour le premier hub, ça a été rappelé avec Afrigène, des industriels, Biovac, bientôt Sanofi Pasteur, l'Organisation mondiale de la santé, les financements européens et le Medicine Patent Pool. Je veux vraiment saluer le travail des équipes et en particulier de Marie-Paul Kenny qui a fait un travail formidable et sans qui ce projet ne pourrait pas avoir lieu. Parce qu'il faut être très clair, à court terme, ce qui empêcherait de produire, je le dis avec beaucoup de netteté, n'est pas le sujet de la propriété intellectuelle, c'est le sujet du transfert de technologie. C'est d'avoir les experts qui vont faire tourner des usines avant même de se poser la question de savoir où va l'argent. C'est de développer ces capacités que beaucoup de pays européens n'ont pas encore. Donc on fait les choses dans le bon ordre, on a fait les dons de doses, tout faire pour aider à vacciner, on doit continuer. Maintenant on lance ces hubs de transfert de technologie parce que c'est la clé pour développer les usines et les capacités de production des vaccins et d'ARN messager. Et donc il faut y aller à plein. Et maintenant on a besoin, la présidente von der Leyen a raison, il faut la meilleure coopération de tous les industriels qui s'engagent et il faut qu'ils transfèrent le savoir-faire, y compris le plus confidentiel, pour que dans ces 6 hubs régionaux, on puisse produire le plus vite possible. Il faut ensuite qu'on ait l'engagement d'achat, les achats locaux, mais les achats internationaux. Et je pense que dans la durée, le point qu'a soulevé le président Ramaphosa est très important. C'est-à-dire qu'on n'explique pas qu'on va continuer à acheter ailleurs les doses qui sont pour le continent africain. Ces hubs doivent devenir prioritaires. Puis on a la question de la propriété intellectuelle sur laquelle j'espère que les discussions de ce matin permettront d'avancer. Je pense que l'objectif qu'on doit poursuivre, c'est que jamais la propriété intellectuelle ne doit être un rempart à la production et la diffusion de vaccins partout où ils sont nécessaires. C'est ça l'objectif. Et donc on connaît le sujet des TRIPS waivers. J'ai exprimé ma position quand j'étais en Afrique du Sud, elle n'a pas changé. Nous, on peut tout à fait avancer là-dessus. Maintenant, je le dis d'autant plus facilement, vous m'entendez souvent répéter cette phrase, qu'il n'y a pas d'industriel français qui est concerné. Donc j'ai le beau rôle. Mais il faut être cohérent avec tous. On doit protéger la propriété intellectuelle. Parce que c'est très important pour qu'on continue à créer, à innover, à inventer. Il faut respecter ça. Il faut que jamais cette propriété intellectuelle ne soit un frein à la diffusion du savoir et à la construction de ses capacités. C'est ça le chemin. Et je pense que l'idée des licences obligatoires qu'a évoquée Madame la Présidente, les propositions que travaille l'Organisation mondiale de la santé avec l'Organisation mondiale du commerce sont des voies pertinentes et surtout il faut maintenant qu'on puisse conclure. Et voilà ce que je voulais ici récapituler. On a réussi ensemble sur les dons de doses, on est en train de réussir sur le transfert de technologie et la production avec les hubs, et vous pouvez compter sur notre mobilisation, les transferts de talents et le financement, et on doit réussir dans la durée pour faire que la propriété intellectuelle ne soit jamais un rempart à la solidarité et à l'accès de tous les peuples, en particulier du continent africain, aux vaccins, à l'innovation. Parce qu'au-delà de la bataille des Covid-19, nous avons la bataille contre toutes les pandémies qui traversent le continent africain. J'étais avec plusieurs d'entre vous, il y a maintenant quelques années, pour justement compléter le Fonds mondial et essayer d'avancer sur ces pandémies. Nous ne devons pas perdre de vue que même si on arrive à vaincre le Covid, et j'espère plus tôt que tard, le continent africain a encore aujourd'hui beaucoup de pathologies qu'on pourrait vaincre avec plus de vaccination et beaucoup de pathologies qu'on doit pouvoir vaincre dans les prochaines années grâce à de nouveaux vaccins. Et donc le combat que nous menons aujourd'hui, c'est aussi un combat pour demain, au-delà du Covid-19. Je vous remercie.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Thank you very much. May I kindly ask you to take a step backwards, de mettre un peu vous en retrait. We will clean the lecterns, and I would like to invite, please, the presidents of the beneficiary countries to please join us on the podium, and that is the President Macky Sall from Senegal, President Al-Sisi from Egypt, President Kenyatta from Kenya, President Buhari from Nigeria, and President Sayed from Tunisia. Please, may we welcome you on stage. Please. It's okay, thank you. Thank you very much. May I first invite President Macky Sall from Senegal to take the floor, please.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, chers collègues, mesdames et messieurs. Je voudrais d'abord remercier nos collègues Emmanuel Macron, Cyril Ramaphosa, Charles Michel, mais également notre sœur Ursula von der Leyen et Dr Tedros, directeur général de l'OMS, pour cette belle initiative de nous réunir ici autour de ce programme de transfert de technologies ARN messager dans le cadre de nos efforts communs pour combler le gap vaccinal. Et ceci en soutenant la production locale de vaccins à ARN messager en Afrique. C'est un excellent exercice pratique de collaboration dans l'action à partir des leçons tirées de la pandémie Covid-19. Nous en sommes d'autant plus ravis qu'il s'agit pour nous, pays bénéficiaires de ces hubs, de partager une expérience déjà acquise en Afrique à travers le premier centre d'excellence de transfert de technologie de Cape Town. So, Brother Cyril, thank you for your generous offer, and we are sure we will share your experience as a first hub in Africa. Je remercie nos partenaires européens à travers vous, Emmanuel, Charles, je l'ai dit, et Ursula, pour ce soutien dans un domaine de transfert de technologie quand même assez particulier, surtout dans une période de pandémie qui se poursuit encore de nos jours. Et je voudrais également remercier Dr. Tedros. Thank you, Tedros, for your commitment, your time and effort also. Et hier, or just yesterday, avec le président Paul Kagame et Nana Akufo du Ghana, je me suis rendu à Marburg, en Allemagne, dans le cadre d'un partenariat que nous voulons développer avec BioNTech dans le même domaine. Et c'est dire que vraiment c'est l'alignement des planètes. Nous sommes en train de tout mettre en œuvre pour arriver à permettre au continent africain également de faire de la production de vaccins. Je voudrais que nous restions pleinement engagés dans le projet de production de vaccins. En ce qui nous concerne, l'Institut Pasteur de Dakar, qui a déjà une initiative appelée Madiba, en référence à Nelson Mandela. Ce projet Madiba, qui bénéficie déjà du soutien de l'État du Sénégal, mais aussi de ses partenaires, notamment de la Team Europe, de la France, de l'Allemagne et des États-Unis, est en voie pour créer un vaccinopole dans la nouvelle ville de Diamniadio. Et ce vaccinopole, à terme, pourra non seulement produire les vaccins qui sont conçus de façon traditionnelle, mais également pourra adapter cette technologie de ARN messager. Donc le Sénégal a conçu ce projet qui rentre dans nos objectifs de production à terme de 60% des vaccins consommés en Afrique. Et l'autre volet important, vous l'avez rappelé Emmanuel, ainsi que Ursula, il faut qu'on puisse acheter les vaccins produits en Afrique, tel que le président Cyril l'a dit. Et pour cela, que ce soit Gavi, l'Union européenne, mais aussi les pays africains qui ont des programmes élargis de vaccination, ensemble nous puissions faire des contrats de take-or-pay à ces nouveaux laboratoires, à ces nouveaux instituts africains, de façon à ce que le vaccin produit en Afrique ne soit pas abandonné parce qu'il y aura d'autres parties du monde qui produiront des vaccins beaucoup moins chers. Alors ça aussi c'est un vrai challenge et je souhaite que l'aspect achat de vaccins produits, au-delà du transfert de technologie, et bien sûr après la question des licences et des droits de propriété pourront suivre. Mais je crois que l'urgence doit être de faire ce transfert, de mutualiser nos efforts avec l'OMS, surtout pour la régulation et la mise en œuvre immédiate de l'Agence africaine du médicament avec le soutien de CDC Africa. Voilà ce que je voulais dire en vous remerciant. Et c'est un grand jour pour l'Afrique et pour l'Europe, c'est un grand jour pour notre sommet. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, President. May I invite President Al-Sisi to take the floor?
شكرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أصحاب الفخامة السيدات والسادة، اسمحوا لي أن أنا أصف اليوم ده ولهذا الصباح بأنه صباح جميل مفعم بالأمل ومفعم بالسعادة. والمبادرة دي كل من ساهم فيها
the epidemic surprised the whole world, and therefore to mobilize finding a solution was fast, even though it took some time. But we say in Africa, to reach sometimes late, better than ever. Please, I would like to announce you to extend my appreciation to choose Egypt by receiving the technology received and the participation of vaccines and to face all other difficult diseases. Our presence here today is a real reflection of the international partnership and the integration or solidarity in the field of health to face the world challenges. If we've the required political leadership is there. And as a result of the effort exerted by France, South Africa throughout the previous stages to crystallize the European-African vision to support the African continent to receive the medical technology required for producing the vaccines. I would like also to appreciate the effort existed or exercised by the World WHO to face the impact of the pandemic throughout the world. Such a step come as what Egypt is doing, in fact, to produce the vaccines domestically to be used or to the provisions of the presently African continent, and based on the industrialized infrastructure invested by Egypt throughout the past years that is capable to embrace such technology and its optimization to guarantee the provision of the vaccines within Egypt and support the African countries for their people. To conclude, I would like to assert that such support that our African countries would receive is only a step through the comprehensive partnership, and we call upon the friendly countries, international institutions to foster the efforts to support the African nations to fill the gaps from the health needed, as well as the fostering the mechanisms through the distribution to be more justice and a response of the economic and social requirements for each country. Thank you.
Shukran, President. I invite President Kenyatta from Kenya to take the floor. May I please ask you to be short because the roundtables, I've been told, have just started.
Thank you very much, and I'll be as short as possible. And
begin by recognizing Your Excellencies, Dr. Tedros, and everybody here present, and to state that today really marks a new dawn, a dawn of hope and promise for the African continent and indeed all her people. As one of the region's leaders also in biomedical research, Kenya is truly honored today to be listed as one of the beneficiary countries of the MNRA Technology Transfer Program, and this is indeed a testament to the caliber of the scientists present within our institutions across our region and indeed the entire African continent. This announcement also announces and demonstrates the power of partnership to change the trajectory of Africa's health security for the better. Indeed, as soon as WHO announced the emergence of this novel pathogen, we witnessed an unprecedented scramble for medical supplies necessary to mount an effective response and save lives. The global supply chain, as we all know, and one that we had prior depended on, failed to meet the increasing demand, and it soon became the case of the wealthiest countries having the best chance of accessing life-saving commodities. And this, if we recall history, was the case with HIV, and it was once again history repeating itself. In many ways, the COVID-19 pandemic was a wake-up call for many countries. As African heads of state, serving a population of 1.2 billion people, we were confronted with the unacceptable reality that 99% of vaccines were sourced from outside our continent, despite Africa accounting for 25% of global vaccine needs. Therefore, today's event is without a doubt an immense and of historic significance. The Technology Transfer Program, once successfully implemented, will without doubt set Africa on a sustainable path of self-sufficiency in terms of vaccine supply. Let me also say that it is my fervent desire that this collaboration will be explored also in other areas such as the manufacture of medical devices, biosimilars, and other emerging areas of biomedical research. As a global community, perhaps the most significant effect it may have will be to rebuild public trust in the ability of multilateralism to come together to address humanity's most pressing challenges. This is the time for all of us to build back better, and let us spare no effort and guarantee our future generations a healthier and a much more sustainable world. We look forward to the leadership of South Africa in leading the way, and we hope to join soon. We thank the WHO. We thank you, President Macron, for your passion, and indeed, our greatest gratitude also to Team Europe. Thank you very much.
A big thank you, President from Kenya. Now I invite the President of Nigeria to take the floor, please.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Nigeria is very grateful. COVID-19 has been more or less considerate on Nigeria. The figures that show are quite low for those infected, and we express our gratitude to the President of France, especially, for giving us a lot of the COVID vaccines, which we try very hard to make sure that we have the storage so that they don't get expired quickly, and effect of the heat of the weather there, we try to make those logistics available, and we are mobilizing our health workers to make sure that the rural areas that are far and wide are reached, and we are very pleased that the amount of work being done is quite satisfactory. Thank you very much for your contributions.
Thank you, President. And may I invite now the President of Tunisia to take the floor.
أصحاب السعادة والسمو، أود أن أتوجه أولا بالشكر إلى كل الذين قاموا بتنظيم هذه القمة، وخاصة إلى الاتحاد الأوروبي وعلى رأسها فرنسا والرئيس الفرنسي إيمانويل ماكرون. أذكر هذا لأننا تقدمنا معا وفي نفس الوقت ربما ينسى الكثيرون ذلك بمبادرة أمام مجلس الأمن الدولي وصدر قرار بالإجماع للمبادرة
enormously, the French-Tunisian initiative have been ratified, and we've tried in the beginning to approach such a newly situation never been known before. It's a new approachment, the approachment of peace and security that is different from being before the United Nations and the international community. After the resolution being issued and signed, several agreements with the leaders and being disseminated, or rather published through the media means, especially the international agreement to get ready before the health pandemic and its response. As Tunisia worked there is a complete different human approachment, how the border was closed sometimes and the whole country has been isolated. As we've sit back to the history, I also extend my thanks to those who participated in such a new situation in the history of humanity. And of course there is the pre and post of the COVID, and as we've talked about the pre and post of the birth of the Christ. But we talk about transferring the technology and the status quo that is related to other sectors. Why, after 60 years of the independence of the countries, we haven't progressed yet, as the numbers have said in the issue of the scientific research, even though that a great number of scientists and doctors in the African continent working in the North countries. And I remember, in particular in Tunisia, that a number of the specialized doctors have been moved to Italy. For example, when the crisis took effect and the Prime Minister of Italy expressed in that time that there is no place but to pray to the Almighty God for the speedy recovery for the infected ones. We should have approached such problems in the same sense of responsibility, and we should work to respond to pandemics or other pandemics that might be known with the African continent, focusing on the number of the affected people of the COVID-19 as well as the fatality numbers. But there are other fatalities, cease of death for other deteriorated situations in a great number of the African continent. It is today, it's a historical day, and I think strongly thanks everybody, but we should make the history altogether for the upcoming pandemic. And with respect to the fruitful collaboration and imagining a new mechanism that the COVID-19 proves that are not enough, even though the work was satisfied in France, European Union, and in the African countries to find such a mechanism. And strongly thank you and those who participated to have such initiatives success, and Tunisia will be among the produced countries of such a vaccine, proposing other problems related to the property, intellectual properties, but we should be overcome because of the individual property that is a great concern of the whole community that require a different apportionment compared to the old one of such a matter. Thank you very much. For His Excellency President Emmanuel Macron of France, and thank you very much also for the efforts being exerted by the European Union, and we will work all together for the sake of a new future for the whole humanity, and peace be upon you all.
Shukran, President of Tunisia. May I invite you to stand in front of the lecterns now so that we can take a nice family photo to celebrate the occasion. Thank you. Thank you very much. Wishing you a successful summit.